Are there good changes you'd like to see in your life? Maybe you wish to eat healthier food. Maybe you'd like to read more books, pick up a new language, or become skilled at playing the clarinet. But it's not always easy to actually make these changes and stick with them. Just wanting to eat more salad doesn't automatically mean you will. Simply saying you'll read more books doesn't guarantee you'll choose War and Peace over watching Netflix. This is where habits come into play. In this video, I'll guide you through the main ideas from James Clear's popular book, Atomic Habits. Together, we'll find out that making big changes in your life doesn't have to be about completely changing everything. You don't need to totally transform what you do or who you are. Instead, you can make small adjustments to your actions, and when you repeat them consistently, they can become habits that lead to significant outcomes. Idea 1. Small actions, big impact. Let's start by picturing an airplane getting ready to take off from Los Angeles and fly to New York City. The pilot enters the correct details into the plane's computer, and the journey begins on the right path. However, after a while, the pilot accidentally adjusts the flight path by just 3.5 degrees. A very small change, only a few feet. No one on board notices this tiny shift, not even the pilot or passengers. During the flight across the United States, this small adjustment accumulates and has a significant effect. When they land, everyone is surprised to find they're in Washington, D.C., not New York City. So why am I sharing this story? It's because, like the pilot's unnoticed adjustment, we often don't notice small changes in our lives. Immediate results from small changes are usually hard to see. For instance, if you're not in great shape today and you jog for just 20 minutes, you won't become fit overnight. Similarly, if you eat a whole pizza for dinner, you won't gain a lot of weight right away. But when we repeat these small actions consistently, they add up and lead to major outcomes. Imagine eating pizza every day for a year. You'll likely gain a lot of weight. Or if you jog for 20 minutes every day, even though you can't see it, you'll become fitter over time. You've probably figured out the main idea here. Small habits can make a surprisingly big difference in your life, and you might not realize it as it's happening. You only see the effects after a while. Now, not seeing immediate results can be discouraging. If you're feeling down about not seeing instant positive changes, focus on the direction you're headed instead of what's happening right now. Imagine you're saving a bit of money each month, even though your savings are still small. While you might not see a big change now, keep in mind that you're moving in the right direction. If you keep going, your situation will improve over time. When you feel frustrated by slow progress, remember that you're doing the right things and moving forward. But how can you make sure you're heading in the right direction? That's where habits come in. Soon we'll find out how to build them. Idea 2. Habits are learned actions. Imagine entering a dark room. You don't stop and think about what to do. You automatically reach for the light switch. This action of reaching for the light switch is a habit. It's something you've done so many times that it happens on its own. Habits are a big part of our lives. Think about brushing your teeth or driving a car. These are all habits. They're very strong and influential. But how do habits come about? A long time ago, a psychologist named Edward Thorndike studied this question. He did an experiment with cats. He put them in a box and timed how long it took for them to find a way out. At first, the cats did what you'd expect. They looked around, pawed at the corners, and tried different things until they found a lever that opened the door and let them out. Thorndike did the same thing with the cats that had learned to escape. He put them back in the box. What happened? These cats had learned the trick. Instead of searching around, they went straight for the lever. After doing this around 20 or 30 times, the average cat could escape in just 6 seconds. In simple words, the process of getting out of the box became a habit for the cats. Thorndike's experiment taught us something important. Actions that lead to good results, like getting free in this case, tend to be done over and over until they become automatic. Since Thorndike's time, we've learned more about habits. We now know they have 4 main parts. First, there's a cue, which is like a signal to act. For example, walking into a dark room cues you to do something so you can see. Then comes a desire for a change. Here, it's wanting to go from dark to light. Next, you have a response, which is the action you take, like flipping the light switch. The last step, and what every habit aims for, is the reward. In this case, it's the relief and comfort you feel from being able to see. Every habit follows this pattern. Do you have coffee every morning? Waking up is the cue that makes you want to be alert. Your response is to get out of bed and make coffee, and your reward is feeling awake and ready to start the day. Now that you know how habits work, let's see how you can build good habits that can make your life better. Idea 3, making habits stick. We've just learned how habits are formed. To recap, a habit has 4 parts. A cue, something that makes you act, a craving, a desire you want, a response, the action you take, and a reward, the good feeling you get from doing it. Now that you know this, you can use it to build helpful habits that stick. Let's say you really want to learn to play the guitar. You have the instrument and know the basics, but practicing regularly is tough. You tell yourself you'll play later, but the day ends without any practice. But with the secrets of habit building, you can improve this. For instance, make the cue to practice very noticeable. Instead of keeping your guitar hidden, put it in a place where you can't miss it, like in your living room. This makes the cue impossible to ignore and turns your desire into a habit more easily. If you want to make your triggers even better, use implementation intentions. What's that, you ask? Well, when we're trying to create good habits, we often stay too vague. We say things like, I'll eat healthier or I'll learn guitar, hoping we'll do it. But with implementation intentions, you get specific. You plan exactly when and where you'll do the habit. Going back to our guitar example, instead of saying, I'll practice sometime this week, say, on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday when my alarm rings, I'll play guitar for an hour. And remember to keep your guitar visible. By using implementation intentions, you give yourself a clear plan and a clear signal, making it much easier to develop a positive habit. Now, you might wonder if this all really works. Can you truly change your surroundings to make good habits easier? Let's look at Anne Thorndike's work in Boston. She's not related to the cat-loving Thorndike. Dr. Anne faced a common problem for doctors, helping patients eat better. But making healthy choices can be hard. It needs willpower and discipline, which aren't always limitless. Anne and her team tried an experiment. They rearranged the hospital cafeteria. They replaced sodas by the cash registers with bottled water and put water all around. Over 3 months, soda sales dropped by 11%, and water sales rose by 25%. Just by making water more noticeable, they helped people choose better. They made it easier for them to build better habits without relying only on willpower. In short, changing your environment can truly help you develop better habits. It's not just theory. Idea 4. Rewards make habits stick. We're halfway through exploring atomic habits. We've learned how strong habits are, how they're formed, and how to use cues. Now let's focus on rewards for habits. In 1954, scientists James Olds and Peter Milner did an experiment on rats. They blocked dopamine, a brain chemical, in some rats. These rats lost all interest in life. They didn't want to eat, drink, or do anything. Without dopamine, they even died from thirst. This story tells us that dopamine is vital for motivation. When we do things for survival, like eating or having fun, dopamine is released, making us feel good. This good feeling encourages us to do those things again. But here's the twist. We don't need to do the thing to get dopamine. Just looking forward to it is enough. In our brain, wanting something is almost like having it. Now, how does this relate to habits? Well, we can use this to our advantage. If we make a habit something we're excited about, we're more likely to do it. Let's talk about temptation bundling. This is where you link something important but not fun with something you enjoy. It's like using dopamine to help build a habit. For example, meet Ronan Byrne, an engineering student. He knew he should exercise more, but he didn't like it. Yet he loved watching Netflix. So he got creative. He connected his exercise bike to his laptop and wrote code so he could only watch Netflix while cycling at a certain speed. By linking exercise with something he liked, he turned a not-so-fun task into something enjoyable. You don't need a fancy setup like Ronan's. You can do it in simple ways. Let's say you want to exercise but also want to catch up on celebrity news. Promise yourself that you'll only read magazines while working out. Or if you want to watch sports but have to make sales calls, reward yourself with a half hour of sports after talking to 10 prospects. Find ways to make important but not exciting tasks fun, and you'll ride the wave of dopamine while forming positive habits. Idea 5. Easy habits stick. Besides making habits enjoyable, another way to build them is by making them easy. Easy actions rule our lives. We scroll social media or snack because those are easy. But doing hard things like doing many push-ups or learning a new language is tough. That's why we don't often feel like doing intense exercises or language practice in our free time. By making desired behaviors easy, we increase the chance of turning them into habits. And the good news is there are ways to make this happen. The first is reducing friction. Here's what that means. James Clear struggled with sending greeting cards, but his wife was great at it. She had a box of cards sorted by occasion. This little preparation made it easy for her to send cards for different events. She didn't need to buy cards each time, so the process was smooth. Friction works both ways. You can reduce it to make a good habit stick or increase it to break a bad habit. For example, if you want to watch less TV, unplug it and remove the remote batteries. This makes watching less convenient. Now, the second way to make habits easier is the 2-minute rule. It's a way to make any new thing feel doable. The idea is that any action can be turned into a habit that takes 2 minutes or less. So if you want to read more, don't commit to reading a whole book every week. Just read 2 pages each night. If you want to run a marathon, start by wearing your running clothes after work. The 2-minute rule creates habits you can easily achieve. Small successes that lead to bigger ones. Once you put on your running shoes, you'll probably go for a run. Once you read 2 pages, you'll likely read more. Starting is the key step toward doing something. Idea 6. Instant rewards make habits stick. We're almost done, but there's one last rule to learn about using habits to better your life. And for that, let's hear a story. It's about a successful researcher named Stephen Luby. Back in the 1990s, Luby worked in Karachi, Pakistan, and did great work. He lowered diarrhea by 52% in local kids, cut pneumonia rates by 48% and skin infections by 35%. His secret? Nice soap. Yes, Luby's big achievements were thanks to nice soap. He knew hand washing and cleanliness helped prevent illness. Locals knew too, but it wasn't a habit. That changed when he got premium soap from Procter & Gamble for free. This soap lathered well and smelled great. Suddenly everyone washed their hands because it felt good. Luby's story shows the most important rule for behavior change. Habits need to feel rewarding. Making good habits enjoyable can be hard because our brains evolved for quick returns. Today we deal with delayed returns, like working now for a paycheck later. But our ancestors focused on immediate needs, like finding food and avoiding danger. This focus on immediate rewards can lead to bad habits. Smoking might harm you in the long run, but it offers instant stress relief. The immediate satisfaction often overpowers long-term health worries. When working on habits with delayed rewards, you should try to add some instant enjoyment. Let's use a couple's experience to explain. They wanted to eat out less, cook more, get healthier, and save money. These goals have delayed rewards, so they created a savings account called Trip to Europe. Whenever they skipped eating out, they put $50 in that account. Seeing money grow gave them instant happiness and helped them stay on track for bigger future rewards. Idea 7. Stay on track with tracking and contracts. We've mastered how to build awesome habits, but even with fun and satisfying habits, sometimes we struggle to keep them up. In this last takeaway, let's discover how to stay committed to our good intentions. One simple way to make new habits stick is called habit tracking. Throughout history, many successful folks like Benjamin Franklin tracked their habits. Franklin recorded his commitment to 13 personal virtues like avoiding small talk and being productive. Every night he marked his progress. You can do the same by using a calendar or diary. Each day you stick with your chosen habits. Mark it. Habit tracking is effective and rewarding. The act of marking days off gives you a sense of accomplishment and keeps you motivated. Next, I suggest making a habit contract that has consequences if you slip up. Brian Harris, an entrepreneur, did this seriously. He signed a contract with his wife and trainer, committing to reach 200 pounds. He listed habits like tracking his food and weighing himself. For not doing them, he agreed to penalties. $100 to his trainer for not tracking food and $500 to his wife for not weighing. This strategy worked because he cared about what they thought. Humans are social, so knowing others watch us can drive us to succeed. You can do this too. Make a habit contract even if it's not as detailed. Commit to a friend, partner, or coworker. Agree on consequences for not sticking to your habits. This boosts the chances of you keeping at it. Remember, sticking to small good habits is a sure way to achieve big things in life. Final thoughts. Remember, a small change in your actions won't magically change your life overnight. But when you turn that action into a daily habit, it can lead to significant transformations. Transforming your life isn't about huge breakthroughs or drastic changes. Instead, it's about creating a positive collection of habits that, when combined, bring about impressive results. Here's one last tip. Use habit stacking to add new behaviors. When you want to start a new habit, consider stacking it onto something you already do. For instance, if you're struggling to find time to meditate, link it to a habit you already have, like drinking your morning coffee. Commit to meditating right after you finish your coffee. This harnesses the natural momentum from an existing habit to help you build the new one.